People have a lot of assumptions about skateboarding. They think it's only for kids, or for losers, or for kids that are losers. And even though some of these assumptions have a little bit of truth to them, a lot of them aren't true at all. Today, we're going to go over 7 things that people get wrong about skateboarding. These are mostly directed towards new skaters, but a few of them also apply to people who have been skating for years. If you have any of your own recommendations, go ahead and leave them in the comments so other people can see. Be sure to leave a like on the video, and with that said, let's get right into it.
Because these little white guys with their skateboards are the ones that started all this.
A lot of skateboarders make the mistake of feeling self-conscious about not being good at skateboarding. This includes people not wanting to start skating in the first place because they think they won't be good, or even people who have been skating for a long time not wanting to skate in public. This is a big mistake because one of the best ways to get better at skateboarding is by skating with other people, especially people who are better than you. Chances are, if you're new to skating, you're probably pretty bad at it. I'd even go as far as saying that a lot of you are absolutely terrible. The thing is, everyone sucks at skating when they first start, and most people remember what it's like, so they're more than willing to help you out, or at least not judge you for it. Simply being comfortable with the fact that you're still learning will make skateboarding a lot more fun for you because you won't be so worried about what everyone else is thinking. You'd be surprised just how many skateboarders feel self-conscious about their skating, even years after they've been skateboarding. This is especially common when the spot or park is a bit crowded, or whenever there's some really good skaters around. No matter what skill level you're at, you should always feel comfortable enough with yourself to have fun and skate around without worrying about other people's opinions, because at the end of the day, most people really don't care. As long as you're being respectful and staying out of other people's way, there's no reason to be intimidated to skate in public. For people who are new to skating, skateboarding might seem like it's this super dangerous thing. Well, in reality, it kind of is, but it's not nearly as bad as a lot of people on the outside assume. Everyone is so used to seeing slams from internet TV shows and Hall of Meat, so they think that's what happens every time a group of kids goes out to skate. You can't really blame people for believing this stereotype because years of TV shows and internet videos have conditioned them to think that way, but it's definitely an exaggerated version of reality. Although those bail videos are a very real part of skating, they're not nearly as common as you think, and there's a lot of things you can do to prevent them from happening. Yes, you fall a lot skateboarding, and yes, you'll most likely get hurt occasionally, but the more you skate, the better you get at falling, and as a result, you'll be able to avoid getting hurt very often. If you can manage to slide, roll, or just run off your bails, most of the time, you can prevent actually getting hurt when you fall. Also, if getting injured is something that you're really worried about, you can always toss on some pads and a helmet, which will definitely help as well. There's a 100% chance that eventually you're going to get hurt skating, but the majority of injuries are minor things like bruised hips and rolled ankles. If you want to start skating or want to get better at skating, don't let the fear of falling stop you. Falling is a part of skateboarding, so it's something you have to get used to if you want to skate, but it's not nearly as bad as a lot of people think.
Okay, bro.
One of the most common assumptions people have about skateboarding is that you have to fit a certain mold to do it, but this really isn't true at all. People from all backgrounds skate, and there's no checklist for how you have to act or dress to be a skateboarder. A skater can be a kid from some sketchy neighborhood, or a doctor with a wife and kids. A skateboarder can really be anyone. When you think about a skateboarder, what's the first thing that comes to your mind? This answer is going to vary depending on who you ask. Some people may think of a punk rock teen with Liberty spikes, some people may think of a guy with baggy pants and a tall tee, and some people may think of a guy in a polo and khakis. Skateboarders come from every background you can imagine, and there's no criteria you need to meet to be a skateboarder.
Hey, can I try that? Yeah, thanks. That's a little harder than it looks.
One of the biggest misconceptions people have about skateboarding is that you have to be a certain age to do it. In some areas of life, your age is definitely important, but in skateboarding, it essentially doesn't matter at all. As the late great Jay Adams once said, you didn't quit skateboarding because you got old because you quit skateboarding. People are often worried that they're too young or too old to start skating, but it really doesn't make a difference if you're 16 or 60. Just as a little experiment, go ahead and leave a comment on how old you were when you first started skating and how old you are now. I guarantee there's going to be ages all over the spectrum. Of course, the earlier you get started, the faster you'll learn, but skateboarding doesn't have any rules, and if you just decided that you want to start skating at 30 years old, then you should go for it. Now, you might want to invest in some pads so you don't have to explain to your boss why you keep showing up to work with scraped knees, but other than that, there's nothing that should be holding you back. Aside from a few random people here and there, the skate community is pretty universally supportive of anyone skating regardless of their age. Not only that, but you'd be surprised how willing people are to help out new skaters. If you have any questions about tricks, gear, or spots, the majority of skateboarders are more than happy to help. As long as you're someone who genuinely loves skating and you're willing to put in the work, most skateboarders are more than happy to welcome new skaters regardless of their background. So if you're feeling intimidated to start skating simply because of your age, then there's no reason not to just go for it. The first time you go into a skate shop and look how much it costs for a new complete, you might get a little bit of sticker shock. A new setup tends to run between $120 to $200, but other than your actual deck, most parts on a board should last you at least a year or two, maybe even longer if you're just starting out. Now, skateboarding can be expensive, but there's a ton of ways to save money. All you need to do is skip 2 meals a day and sell your blood once a week, and you'll probably be able to afford a pair of Nike shoes. Okay, that was just a joke, don't actually do that. But seriously, skateboarding doesn't have to be super expensive like a lot of people assume. There's an entire video on ways to save money skateboarding that will be linked in the description, but basically there's a few key things you need to know. Things like working out deals with your local shop, waiting on sales, or skating hand-me-downs can all make skateboarding a lot cheaper. Also, one of the best things you can do is invest in quality gear. It sounds pretty counterintuitive to spend more money to save money, but if you buy good quality gear, it'll last you way longer than the cheaper alternatives. The main thing to take away from this is that if you're creative and responsible with your money, you can find plenty of ways to afford skateboarding. After all, roughly half of America owns a gaming console, and if you can afford a $300 console, you can afford a skateboard.
You pay for what you get in life. 19 bucks doesn't get you a real skateboard.
For some reason, a lot of skateboarders feel like once they start skating, that's all they're allowed to do, and anything outside of it is considered lame. This thought process kind of makes sense, but it's not really necessary. Once you really get into skating, it absolutely consumes your life, and there's not many things out there that are like it. Sure, you might have liked football or soccer as a kid, but it doesn't really become a part of your identity the way skateboarding does. I mean, really, when was the last time you saw someone with a tattoo that said soccer or die? Most skateboarders spend all of their time either skating or thinking about skating, and everything else seems like a waste of time. With that said, if you do want to do things outside of skateboarding, you don't need to feel like it's one or the other. If you want to go surfing, or play some golf, or start a band, you don't have to give up skateboarding entirely to do it. It's not like it's some binary choice where you're either a skater or a surfer. You can do things outside of skateboarding while still being a skateboarder. Because skateboarding comes with its own lifestyle, it's easy to get in the thought process that anything outside of skating is a waste, but that's really not the case.
Can Tony Hawk surf? Yes, I can surf. I've been surfing almost as long as I've been skating. I went to Kelly Slater's surf ranch a couple weeks ago, got pitted, so yeah, I can surf.
The only real rule in skateboarding is that there aren't any rules. New skaters and even experienced skaters often get caught up thinking they should only do certain tricks or skate a certain way. While there are some guidelines that are generally agreed upon, you can really skate however you want. If you want to skate street, skate street. If you want to do freestyle tricks, do freestyle tricks. If you want to push Mongo, push Mongo. Okay, maybe don't push Mongo. The point is, skateboarding is completely subjective and there's no right or wrong way to do it. If people stuck to skating, quote, the right way, we would all still be doing hang 10 nose manuals on tiny plastic boards. Even if the majority of skateboarders don't think a trick looks good, you should still do it if that's what you like to do. The entire reason why people skate is to have fun, and that means doing whatever tricks you want to do and skating however you want to skate. There's a lot of assumptions people make about skateboarding, but most of them aren't true, and even the ones that do have a little truth to them tend to be pretty exaggerated. Hopefully this video helped you at least a little, and if you feel like anything was left out or have any tips of your own, go ahead and leave a comment. Be sure to leave a like on the video, and with that said, thanks for watching.